Awesome. Okay. So we'll start hands and knees, tabletop position, and tuck your toes under for a moment just so you can find a little bit more stability in the legs. And then press down through your hands nice and firmly. So spread your fingers nice and wide so you have a nice firm base here. And then take lateral movements side to side. So think like that C sort of shape. And you're sending like your right ribs over to the right, and then your left ribs over to the left. And do that a few times, maybe like a little bit of a stretch. And then I want you to start to take your head and your tailbone. Think of that, those two parts, as an extension of that movement, right? So, can you start to send your right ear over to your right shoulder and then your left ribs over to the left in the opposite direction, and then right hip almost towards your right shoulder, right? Obviously, they won't touch, but that right there, I want you to stay there. And then, can you think of your mat as a clock, right? Or the ground underneath you as a clock. So 12 o'clock is straight ahead, right? 6 o'clock is right behind you. I want you to go to about, say, 7 o'clock. Think about shifting your hips back towards 7 o'clock, but keep that C curve, right? So for me, then I like to start to round my upper back and drop my head. So you can start to get a little bit more of a stretch on the left side, but also in the left low back. So think about puffing up the upper back. Lots of cues, right? But just like try it on here, and you might even move a little bit more. Think about right shoulder, maybe drawing towards your right hip. And then again, you tip the weight back, your hips drop back towards that 7 o'clock. Take one more full breath in and out. And then you'll come back to center, come back to neutral. Maybe a round of like cat cow here. So dropping the belly for cow, and then just regular cat. You round your upper back and drop your head. And then come back to neutral. Now we'll take that all on the other side. So left ear will draw towards your left shoulder just to lengthen out through the right side of the neck. Now right ribs over to the right. Now left hip towards your left shoulder, right? So you're really creating that sort of C-like shape, like technically a backward C, right? And then keep that same shape. Can you start to tip your hips back or draw your hips back towards like 5 o'clock? So back right corner of your mat. And then maybe even round your spine here and drop your head. Yeah, a little bit awkward, right? Doesn't really matter what it looks like. It's more about creating a shape so you can really notice what it feels like. Let it be your own experience here. Find that space where you can maybe find a little bit more of a stretch in the low back on the right side. Take one more big breath in and out. Excellent. And then come back to neutral. Round of cat cow here on your own. And send your right leg behind you. Three-legged dog, or three-legged tabletop rather. And you'll start to roll your right ankle around both directions. And then start to bend your right knee here. I want you to snug your right knee up behind your left, like you were crossing your knees in a chair, right? And then you'll take your feet a little wider apart. So try not to keep them too close together, a little wider apart. And then here, think like you were drawing your hips straight back towards a child's pose. Just think hips back towards 6 o'clock, straight back. It's okay if that left knee starts to lift up. Now, the goal is not for your seat to go all the way to the ground, right? Just think like you would in child's pose. You draw your hips back, and then you might even think about first reaching your chest further forward as you pull your left hip back in space a little more. Take one more big breath in. Now you can stay here or then start to just drop the head, maybe slightly round through the upper back. Stay here. Take a round of breath in and out. And then you'll come back forward. Start to send that right leg straight back behind you. Give a roll of the ankle again, both directions. And then send your right foot straight out to the right side. So think like 3 o'clock, right? So we're really using that sort of like all of the directions, right? That nice round sort of taking up space all around you. And then as your right foot is out to the right at 3 o'clock here, we need to shift your weight forward a bit. Think like cow pose. So you're dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone, maybe lifting the chin. And then as you exhale, not so much cat pose here, but come back to neutral. And can you send your hips back? Drawing your hips back towards 6 o'clock, like you did before. And then feeling the inseam of that right leg get a little bit longer. And then maybe you drop the head. Maybe you come onto your forearms. Whatever feels supportive here, you're here just for 3. Maybe even shake out the head. Yes, no, 2. Last 1. Excellent. Shift the weight back forward. Send that right leg straight back behind you. Give one last roll of the ankle. And then set the right knee down. Now it's the left leg. It goes behind you first. Give a twirl of the ankle, both directions. Bend through that left knee, and you're going to snug it behind the right knee first. And then your feet come a little wider apart on either side, and then draw your hips back. Now, before you round, I want you to think about your chest reaching further forward, your sternum reaching further forward. Then pull that right hip back just like an inch more if you can, or just this drawing back action. Then you can stay or drop the head. A full breath in. Big breath out. Take one more like that as you feel the low back lengthen. Fill up with air and empty. You'll shift the weight back forward, send that left leg behind you, give a roll of the ankle for a moment. Now it's over to 9 o'clock. That left foot, you'll place it off to the side. Shift the weight forward first, think like cow pose, and then pull it back like you're drawing your hips back, kind of like you were before. And then maybe you drop the head. Maybe you drop to the forearms. Noticing if one side feels a little different than the other or more tight than the other. Full inhale. Soften the face as you exhale. One more breath in and out. And you'll slowly come back up. Send that left leg straight back behind you. One last twirl of the ankle, both directions. And release. Now, send your right leg back behind you for a moment. Just give a twirl. Now, think about right knee drawing towards your right wrist, and then your right shin drawing further forward. We're coming into like a pigeon pose here. I want you to start to wiggle your left foot back behind you, right? So your right shin is like on a diagonal, right? The goal is not to bring your shin parallel to the front of your mat. It's more of just this diagonal, but you don't want it too far behind you because you don't want it to be this deep, deep experience in your right knee. Just drawing that right shin a little further forward. Now come up onto your fingertips here. if you can, right? Press down through your fingertips, lift up through your chest, and keep your back toes tucked under here. And then see if you can press back through your left heel a little more just for a moment. Lift up through the chest. Take a big breath in with strength in the hips. Now you can stay here or think reaching your chest beyond the front of your mat or towards 12 o'clock. And maybe you then drop to your forearms. And you're not here too long, but can you imagine that you're drawing your right hip back in space a little bit more and then soften your face. Full breath in, big breath out. One more inhale, full exhale. Now to come out of this, I want you to just send your weight onto your right hip. And then you're going to sit up here. So your left toes will turn up to the sky. So your left leg will stay nice and long. And your right foot will come to the inside of your left thigh. Just for a moment, sit up nice and tall. Take a breath in. And then maybe even start to turn your chest towards your left toes. And a little bit of a fold here. It doesn't have to be like a super deep stretch. Just another place where we can find that length through the right low back here. You might even drop the head or soften the elbows. Full breath in. Big breath out. So nice. And then you'll start to lift your chest back up. A little counter stretch here if you wanted a little bit of a back bend. So your right hand can drop down behind your right hip here. Just place it on the ground. And you're going to shift your weight back forward onto that right knee, and your seat will lift up. And then as you press your left foot down here, reach your right hand up overhead, like you were reaching towards like 2 o'clock, call it. Take one big breath in, that long line from your left foot through your left fingertips. And then you're going to bring that left arm in front of your face, plant the left hand, plant the right hand back to that tabletop position. So it's like reset here. Breath in to find cow. Breath out to find cat. Any last shapes that you need here? Last time in tabletop for you. And you're going to bring that left knee towards your left wrist. We're coming in towards that pigeon shape on the other side. So your left shin can start to create that like 45-ish degree angle. So you start to wiggle walk that left foot a little bit further forward towards your right wrist a little more. They won't be touching by any means, but just so your leg can be, your shin can be on that angle. And then wiggle walk that right foot a little further back behind you. Now, if you can, keep the back toes tucked under. This encourages more strength in the legs rather than just letting your pelvis, the weight of your pelvis, sink down, right? So you want to create a little more strength in the glutes, in the quads, right? To protect your low back as you find this back bend here. You'll start to come to your fingertips, maybe. Think about lifting your chest up. So it's not about how low you can be, right? It's about how much lifting you can find all the way up through the crown of your head. Like you're drawing everything in towards your center line. Lift up from there. Take one more big breath in. Now think about your chest reaching towards 12 o'clock in front of you. Maybe you then drop down to your forearms. And then you maybe think about sending your left hip a little bit further back. Soften the face. Soften the jaw. Find ease in the breath. You're only here 2 more rounds. In and out. Last one, in, fill all the way up and get totally empty. Now you start to send your weight to your left hip. That right leg will stay long. You'll face the long edge of your mat. So you'll come up. Now it's the sole of your left foot that comes to your inner right thigh. You'll sit up nice and tall and then turn your torso to face your right toes. And then just like a gentle fold here. So nice and easy. You'll just fold over that right leg. It's not about how low you can go, but more so how much length you can create in your low back, particularly along that left side. You might even reach your left fingertips a little bit further to create that length. One more big breath in and out. So nice. And then you'll find that counter here. Your left hand will come behind you, right behind your like left seat here, the left side of your seat. And then that right leg will stay long. You'll lift your seat up, press down through your right foot, and can you reach through your right fingertips? Get really long here. Maybe even look up towards the ceiling. One more big breath in. Now come back down to a seat. And you'll face the back of your mat, but then just lie down on your back here or wherever you can. You need to lie down on your back in a different way. Go for it. You're just coming onto your back, arms down along your sides for a moment. And as your feet firmly are planted with your knees bent, lift your seat up. Just one bridge pose here. I want you to just engage the glutes. Think about like almost like your pubic bone drawing up towards the ceiling a little more. It's like a tiny little shift. One more big breath in. Excellent. And lower all the way down to the ground. If it feels good to stay in neutral with the knees, just press the low back to the ground, hands come onto your belly. Or if you'd like internal rotation of the thighs, sometimes that feels really nice on the low back. Your feet can go wide and knock your knees together. Full breath in to expand. Open up your mouth. Slow exhale out. Do that two more times. Breathe in and out. Last one in and empty. And wiggle walk the feet a little wider if you haven't already. Split the knees. Arms can come out to the sides and let both knees just fall over to the right. And just a easy supine twist. And come back to center. Both knees fall over to the left. And back to center. One last thing here. You'll hug the knees into your chest. But think about maybe rather than rounding here, can you keep the back of your head on the ground and just almost grab onto your shins and press your shins in towards you. And then if it feels good on your low back, you can rock side to side. If just being still here is exactly what your low back is craving, find stillness. Take a breath in and out as you hug your knees in and let them fall, let your whole body fall to the side and you'll just press yourself up to a seat. Once you're there, getting nice and comfy, sit up nice and tall here, all the way up through the top of the head. Shrug the shoulders up, draw them back and down, soften the jaw, maybe open and close the mouth a few times. Letting any tension release right here for just a full breath in. Open your mouth, let out that sigh. Maybe even bring your hands together right in front of your heart. Bow your chin and just honor yourself for showing up, for creating space in your body, space in your breath, maybe a little space in your mind as a result. You can blink your eyes open, take in a little bit more light. And thank you so much for joining me